Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Modern Mining. Got some crazy things going on today. You'll notice that I have officially closed off that window. There is a crazy snowstorm going through Kentucky right now, and honestly, ice storm too. I will probably be losing power within the next 12 hours if I had to guess. So I'm cranking this heat up. It's 95 in here right now. I'm hoping to close off all the outside air and get my house nice warm 75 degrees or something like that before the power goes out. Got a new little sticker here from Bitcoin merch. Let's add that to the collection here. And let's take a look outside. So it is 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m., and there was no snow on the driveway about 2 hours ago. So we are definitely getting some serious snow, and it's supposed to continue into ice. So I'm all cooped up in the house right now. Today's video is brought to you by Crypto Miner Bros. 2025 is going to be an electric year for crypto mining. Right now might be the last time to get a good deal on ASIC miners before the prices start to rise. Crypto Miner Bros has all the most profitable ASICs from the most popular brands, including Jazz Miner, Ice River, Bitmain. Price you see is the final price you pay. No hidden fees or customs, which is super nice. Use code MODERN to get $70 off every item in your cart, regardless of price. I'll leave links down below to my favorite miners, and with that, let's get back into it. But that brings me to the point of this video, and I want to discuss these two guys right here. My AL0 Alephium miners that I received on September 22nd. Let's discuss where I'm at in terms of breaking even on these things. Have they been worth it? What is their current profitability? Are they making 50 cents a day? Are they making basically nothing a day? And keep in mind, these are overclocked right now. So they're actually using more power to get more hash rate, but they lose a little bit of efficiency compared to stock settings. So one thing I also want to do in this video is take a look at these and see if they're going to be more profitable on stock settings, and therefore I probably need to just take the overclocks off, save a little bit of power, and run them stock. So quickly, let me kind of describe how I got these miners, what the price was that I purchased them for. One of them was actually free from K1 Pool. They sent me one to basically promote mining Alephium on K1 Pool, and I have done that the entire time I've had it. If you guys are mining Alephium, definitely use K1 Pool. It's my favorite pool, regardless of coin, because of how nice the dashboard is. So that one I got for free, but the second one I purchased with my own money, and it was about $825, which seems insane because you can buy the same miner right now for like 200 bucks on Crypto Miner Bros. So I will have a link to that down below if you are interested, because there are still a couple things that I think these miners are good for. All right, so you can see here, this is where I received the two miners. It was September 22nd. Quickly walk through that. This is where I unboxed them, put them up on my shelf. They ran in the garage for a long time before I moved them up here for the winter time. But I really want to figure out today is how much profit are these things making? Let's get an exact reading. So I do have those WABA smart plugs I made a video on not too long ago. And WABA 3 is what's powering both of those KS0s. And it says they're pulling 431 watts, which seems kind of crazy because I think they should only be running like 150 watts each. So one, we'll check what the actual wattage of those is, and we'll also check if this WABA plug is actually accurate or not. So that will be interesting. If we look up the AL0 on hashrate.no, we can see what the estimated profitability is and get a good look at the profitability from the last 30 days. So this says we should be running at 100 watts and getting about 61 cents in revenue every single day. Let's go to our K1 pool and see what are we personally making every single day. So if we go to dashboard here, so if we take a look at our ALPH numbers, it does look like we are getting about 60 cents in revenue every single day with 1.17, 1.23, 1.17, and I have two of them, so about 60 cents each. But keep in mind, mine are overclocked. So even with the overclock, I'm basically not making much more than I should be on a stock device. So if I'm using double the amount of power than the 100 watts, I definitely need to get these off of the overclock and onto the stock firmware. So before we go further, let's get a watt meter on this thing and check exactly how much watts it's using. All right, we've got the miners plugged in here and it looks like 233 watts. So nowhere near the 430 watts that the wobble plug was reporting. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to ask the developers about that, what is going on there. But that's good news. That means that these are only running about 117 watts each. So that extra 17 watts over stock, let's do some calculations. Okay, so if the hash rate NO is saying that we should be making 37 cents profit, let's check our actual statistics and see if we're making that or if we're making less or what's happening. So if we go to Lithium pool, we can see that on average, our miners are combined are making about 805.2 gigahash. So I'm just gonna take that as 402.5 for each one individually. So let's go on to here and find a Lithium and put 402.5 gigahash at, what did we say, 117 watts. And let's do the calculations there. And it says we're only profiting 22 cents. So I'm not sure what's going on, but these numbers don't make sense when you actually put them in the calculator. 400 gigahash, 100 watts, it says 26 cents. So our real numbers, 402, 117, we are basically 4 cents less profitable than the stock settings, or what they should be at stock settings. So honestly, with that small of a difference, not really a difference between the two. Though I do think I'm going to take the overclocks off in this video. They're obviously not doing too much for me. I probably should have looked at this a long time ago because these things have been mining for months. But the fact that I'm only getting basically stock setting average hash rate, their overclocks aren't doing much for me, so I might as well take them off. So let's go ahead and do that. If I log into these devices here, you can see this is the custom PB Farmer interface here, and I should just be able to go to restore factory settings here. And when I do this, I'm going to have to re-put in my mining information here. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this to a notepad file so I don't have to go and find this again. And let's go ahead and just restore this one to factory settings and make sure everything works, and then we'll do the second one. So let's talk about my general thoughts on the profitability of these miners while we wait for that to reset. So making about 22 cents, which is pretty dang bad considering I paid $800 for it, but we have already mined a decent amount of coins, and I'll go over that shortly in a bit. Now the other big factor of that is going to be Alephium's price. Obviously, the more Alephium appreciates in price, the more these miners are going to make, and that's kind of the enticing thing about it, is that Alephium goes to $5, then that miner is making basically $1 a day instead of 22 cents a day. Now, the other side of that is that a ton of hash rate should be joining the Alephium network soon because of the release of the AL3, which is a big boy ASIC from Ice River that has a huge hash rate and should definitely make it so these little miners are getting a smaller share of the pie. And if we actually look at the Lithium hash rate right here, you can see that in the last few days, we're starting to get almost an exponential rise over here on the side of the chart from where the AL3s have just started to ship. It's been relatively flat for the past 2 to 3 months, but we are starting to see a serious increase here, which is going to hurt our mining rewards even further, unfortunately. So let's take a quick look at how much ALPH have I mined in that time period that I've had these, a little over 3 months, and how close am I to hitting that sort of $800 return on investment. So you can see here my pending balance, I have 10 Alephium in here, and then if we go to payouts, we can see that I've been paid out a total of 60, 120. Basically, I've made 130 Alephium off of these 2 miners in 3 months. So let's put that into the calculator here. 130 Alephium is basically $170. But I wonder what happens if Alephium goes to, let's say, its previous all-time high, which was $3.81. So let's take a look at that. 130 coins times $3.81, $500 at that point. So that's where it gets a little more interesting, is if Alephium as a coin starts to do well, then all those coins you've mined are looking a lot better and getting a lot closer to hitting ROI on these devices. But overall, also considering the fact that I'm mining on 2 of them, and still, even if Lithium is at all-time high, I'm not even broke even on 1 yet. I would say that these miners were a bad investment at this point. And that's mainly because we knew going in purchasing Alephium miners was going to be risky. I do not put it on the same level of risk as like a Ethereum miner or a Litecoin miner, which those miners have much more long-term periods of profitability than these new miners like Casper miners or Alephium miners. So that restorative factory settings did not do anything. I'm still on PB Farmer, so I actually need to go in here and find the Ice River firmware for the AL0 and flash that on instead. And honestly, I can't even find the AL0 firmware, which is a bit concerning, especially because the AL3 is out now too, and that firmware file is not in here either. So maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. If anyone knows where to find the AL0 firmware, definitely let me know, because I am going to flash these back to stock eventually. But right now I'm losing 30 watts, so I guess not the end of the world if I have to let it sit for now. So I wanted to quickly discuss who I think these miners may be good for. I think the AL0, the KS0, those small home miners are still pretty good options for people who want to get into ASIC mining but do not want to throw a ton of money in. Just going with the thought that you're probably not going to make your money back, but the lessons that you're going to learn setting it up, learning about mining difficulty, all these different things, that is where the real value is going to come from, not necessarily the financial gain that you might make from one of these miners. Now, also always think of like Chump Change XD's setup, where he has a big solar setup and a ton of these little Ice River units sitting in his trailer running off solar. I think that's also super enticing because they're such low wattage, low maintenance, they're not loud or anything like that. They do make a pretty great miner for solo power or like battery powers that's powered by solar, something like that. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. The snow is still coming down and I gotta get editing this before the power goes out. The good news is we did not lose power. Ended up just being a ton of snow, almost 10 inches. Winnie loved playing in it. It was all the way up to her body basically. And then the even better thing about it is the mining rigs work great at drying off all your winter clothes. So I ended up hanging a fan right here to cool this down in here because it was about 98 with that window closed off. So I'll see you guys next time. Check out this video if you want to learn how much I made in 2024 mining.